The LGBT Staff and Faculty Association began naming a Defender of Diversity in 1994 when Professors Hank Dobin and Art Eckstein successfully ushered through the University Senate a motion to make domestic partner benefits available to all staff and faculty at the University of Maryland. These two allies to LGBT people worked overtime and took an unreasonable amount of abuse for moving this proposal forward. I, for one, will always remember and honor the contributions of these two outstanding defenders of diversity. I recall this history to remind us that this award seeks to honor an ally or allies who have made distinguished contributions to the LGBT community. And while this year's recipient effectively fits that description, he is clearly an activist who promotes diversity writ large and comprehensively. Since 1998, when I began to occupy the position I currently hold, I have been blessed in having Dr. Cordell W. Black as the person to whom I report. In addition to supervising my work, he has advised me, mentored me, and inspired me. He has lifted me up when I have been in professional and personal depths, and he has celebrated my every success. From the outpouring of support for Dr. Black last fall, I know that he has inspired many of you, for I saw many students in the room today at those demonstrations. He encourages all of us to live the vision Robert Kennedy expressed in 1966 when he spoke in South Africa. It is from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man or woman stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he or she sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. We inhabit an institution where we constantly hear that diversity is an essential ingredient of excellence. As Associate Provost for Equity and Diversity, Cordell has provided the leadership that allows the institution to begin to address its own directive on the achievement of excellence. As Director of LGBT Equity, I, along with the other two directors who report to Dr. Black, Christopher Lester in the Office of Multi-Ethnic Student Education and Ronald Ziegler in the Numburu Cultural Center, have witnessed the power of his leadership in the development of our units, especially regarding increased staff and financial support. Simply put, the Office of LGBT Equity would not have the position of Associate Director or its current budget were it not for Dr. Black. We three directors have experienced his ability as a mentor in providing the vision required to fulfill our responsibilities and demonstrating the patience required to work with those who are unsympathetic to our missions. We are more capable and better able to fulfill our assignments as directors of our units because of Cordell. As I have listened to Dr. Black's powerful orations, primarily addressing the scourge of racism in our culture, he rarely fails to mention homophobia and sexism alongside of racism as structures of power and oppression we must dismantle. Even yesterday, in a small conversation group about the pros and cons of the current President of the United States, it was Cordell Black who noted the President's failure thus far to deliver on his campaign promise to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the noxious law that forces our brave women and men in uniform to hide, lie, or leave the military. I am extremely proud the LGBT staff and faculty have chosen my boss this year. And now I have the high honor and distinct privilege to present to you our Defender of Diversity, Dr. Cordell W. Black.
Jamais nous ne goûtons de parfaite allégresse, nos plus heureux succès sont mêlés de tristesse. Never do we taste of perfect happiness. Our grandest achievements are mingled with sadness. Luke and Ron, and I don't know if Lester is here. Yes, he is. And my good and dear friend, Rob, we've worked together. This is a sad time for me, for this is the last time that I will be functioning in this setting. I've enjoyed every moment of and grown because of these people, and it's really hard. I mean, this past week and a half has just been phenomenal in terms of the awards and recognitions that have cascaded down to me from various sources. And I experienced a kind of sadness that ends today. But the fact of the matter is that what ends more importantly is my position in these various offices. But I will continue to work on those principles nonetheless. Luke, thank you for the really moving introduction. And I'll be brief. I've written this little piece called Embryonic Progress in Promoting Peaceful Diversity. I'm deeply humbled to come before you this evening to receive this singular recognition, the Defender of Diversity Award. I will be forever grateful for this honor of having been selected to wear this crown. I am not unmindful of the fact that I stand in the presence of others, no less deserving than I, to whom this award could have been given just as easily. I'm especially pleased to share the platform, so to speak, with the real honorees of this evening, graduates of the class of 2010. I know how proud you must feel and the joy your loved ones experience witnessing you take this giant step out into the world. I extend to you my heartiest commendations and hope your lives will be crowned with success, prosperity, good health, and much happiness. Whatever there is in life that ought to be, can be, is the motto I have borrowed throughout my long administrative career at the university in order to inject the right kind of energy into the units that report directly to me. They have not disappointed me in the least, as they have all been agents of change and promoters of diversity. All who work in these organizations are modern-day Joshuas, excited by the challenge of engaging young, diverse students. My university life has been devoted to attempting to bring people together, persons of different races, ethnicities, sexual orientation, sexuality, gender, and religious backgrounds. I believe my success in this area has not been inconsequential. On the other hand, we live in a time of befuddling paradoxes. Scientific knowledge has reached levels of unprecedented speculation, and religious fanaticism undermines so much of what we're trying to achieve. Ethnic violence threatens the lives and dignity of various nations in the face of emerging civil and liberal governments. We live in a time of great economic advances, and yet many, many millions of people live in persistent and abject poverty. Our existence is a fragile affair. How long, oh how long, must we go on trying to find a place in the world where people can assert their human rights solely by virtue of their moral status as human beings, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, sexuality, race, ethnicity, or religion? Lest you think of me as some kind of whimsical Don Quixote, allow me to state my case clearly. I am not the parody of the knight that some perceive Don Quixote to be, but I would like to believe that I come closer to being the paragon of the man Don Quixote was, and who sought in this capacity to right all wrongs. To take on such an enterprise is either hubristic or Herculean. I don't know which, but such has been my choice throughout my life. Thus, in my view, poverty, for instance, can be eliminated from around the world. In much the same vein, I believe we can work to transcend labels, categories, and stereotypes to support excellence. Diversity is an issue that is not going away. Until I draw my last breath, I will continue to pick a piece of the problem of bigotry that I can solve while looking to see how my piece fits into the broader social change puzzle. If that makes me a defender of diversity, so much the better. And I am honored, truly honored, to accept this award on behalf of the many others out there struggling to light a candle of understanding in the hearts of all mortals. The advancements we have made toward addressing racism, sexism, homophobia, and ethnic centrism are embryonic at best. There is a heart, my heart, that aches for an expression that speaks on a theme that is timeless, and that expression is peaceful diversity. I have wept and wept hard for the past 2 years. I've wept every day because I have lost two people who were my best friend. I lost my wife of 40 years 2 years ago, and just a few days ago, or just a few weeks ago, I lost my mother. I never differentiated between the friendship I had with my mother and my wife. And so my sockets are dry. I have no more tears to share, but I have to tell you, it cries in my heart as it rains on the streets. Thank you very much.